My name is Riley. I'm 28 years old, and on an ordinary Thursday night, I learned the kind of truth that doesn't scream. It whispers through cracks you didn't know existed. It started with a simple text from my boyfriend, Jesse, 26. Hey babe, can't talk right now. Having dinner with an old college friend who's in town. We'll be home late. Don't wait up. Love you. There was nothing suspicious about it at first. Jesse often met up with friends after work. We had been together for almost 2 years, living together for 1. We'd built routines, inside jokes, shared grocery lists, and dreams that stretched long into the future. I trusted him, or at least I thought I did. I was curled up on our couch, scrolling through takeout options, trying to decide between Thai or ramen. The apartment was quiet except for the soft hum of the AC. I remember thinking how nice it would be to have him home, to tell him about the awful meeting I had at work, to share leftovers, to laugh about stupid reality TV. But then my phone buzzed, a notification from Life 360, the app we installed months ago after I got a flat tire on the highway. Jesse arrived at ex-girlfriend's name's apartment. At first, I thought it was a glitch. The pin didn't move. It stayed there. 5 minutes. 10. 20. I stared at the tiny dot on the screen, my breathing tightening. A hollow thud echoed somewhere in my chest, the kind that comes when your brain already knows something your heart refuses to accept. I didn't text him. I didn't call. I just sat there holding my phone like it contained a live grenade. My mind raced. Maybe his friend lived nearby? Maybe he parked there? Maybe he dropped someone off? Maybe. But a person only produces that many excuses when deep down they already know. I didn't sleep much that night. I lay in bed pretending everything was fine, pretending I was fine, pretending the world hadn't tilted just a little bit sideways. By morning, I was done pretending. I got up quietly, moved through the apartment like a ghost, and began packing. Not my things. His. Every shirt, every jacket, every pair of jeans he left crumpled on the armchair. His chargers, his books, his half-used cologne, the socks he never matched. Toothbrush, hair gel, all of it. I didn't cry. My hands didn't even shake. There was something strange about the calmness, like my body had decided for me. When I zipped the last bag, I placed it gently by the door. I didn't throw anything, didn't break anything, didn't dig through pockets for extra proof. I already had all the proof I needed. When Jesse finally walked through the front door at 9:14 a.m., carrying a lukewarm cup of coffee and smelling faintly like someone else's perfume, someone I recognized, he froze. His eyes darted to the bags, then to me, then back to the bags. Riley, what's all this? I looked at him, really looked at him. The man I loved, the man I trusted, the man who thought he could lie to my face with a text message and a smile. You left your stuff at her place, I said quietly, so I figured I'd return the favor. He blinked in confusion, then panic washed across his expression. Wait, babe, it's not what you think. Seriously, I can explain. I didn't want an explanation. I didn't want a confession. I didn't want anything from him anymore. Your bag's by the door, I repeated. Your Uber's already on the way. I ordered it for you. His mouth opened, then closed. He looked younger suddenly, smaller, like a child caught stealing, but it didn't move me. You're seriously kicking me out? He whispered. You weren't home last night, I said plainly, but your location was. His face flushed. Guilt, fear, maybe anger, but not love, not the kind that stays, not the kind that chooses you. Riley, please, just let me explain. I stepped aside. Silence pressed in between us, heavy and final. Then the knock came. The Uber driver. A confused man in a baseball cap peered past me into the hallway. Jesse? That was it. That was the moment Jesse realized he had no room left to wiggle, no space to manipulate, no doorway to stand in and beg. He lifted his bag, walked out, and paused, like he was waiting for me to stop him. I didn't. When the door clicked shut, the apartment felt unbearably empty. Not quiet. Empty. Like someone had scooped out all the air. I sat down on the couch, pulled my knees to my chest, and exhaled shakily. The silence wrapped around me, thick and unfamiliar. This wasn't what I imagined heartbreak would feel like. It wasn't loud or explosive. It was numb, gray, like standing in the middle of a storm after all the thunder has passed. I thought letting him go would feel empowering. Instead, it felt like dropping something fragile you had spent years protecting. But one thing was clear. I wasn't going to fight for someone who chose to lie. I wasn't going to compete with his past. I wasn't going to beg to be respected. and I definitely wasn't going to wait for him to come home from someone else's apartment ever again. By 6 a.m., my phone started blowing up. Notifications after notifications, missed calls, texts, voicemails. Jesse, Catherine, Amanda, they all wanted attention, answers, apologies. I didn't respond, not a single one. Let them stew in their own chaos. The first voicemail was Jesse, crying and babbling about a misunderstanding, how I overreacted, how he didn't mean to hurt me. Mental gymnastics of Olympic proportions, but I stayed silent. The second was Catherine. Riley, what the hell? You dumped all his stuff at my place. That's trespassing. I'm calling the cops. I almost laughed. Trespassing? I left the boxes neatly stacked outside her door in a common area. Legally, there was nothing to touch me, and she knew it. Around 8 a.m., pounding came at my door. Through the peephole, I saw Jesse and Amanda, and behind them, Catherine. It was a comedy and a tragedy all in one frame. Riley, open this door, Jesse shouted, his voice sharp but wavering. No thanks, I said, steady. There's nothing to discuss. You're not welcome. You changed the locks. Riley, this is my home. No, it's my condo. Your name isn't on the lease, the mortgage, or any bills. You were a guest who became an ex-boyfriend. Leave. Catherine decided to play the tough one. Open the door and talk to him like a woman. I raised an eyebrow. Like the woman who hosted my boyfriend at her apartment until 1 a.m.? No, you can leave. Amanda tried reasoning. Riley, he wasn't cheating. He was just talking to Catherine about personal stuff for 5 hours. I couldn't stop the smirk. For 5 hours? While lying about being at dinner? Totally innocent. Jesse began sobbing dramatically. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know. Maybe Catherine's place? You two seem very comfortable there, I replied coolly. Security arrived eventually, escorted them out, and I went back inside, feeling a strange mix of triumph and exhaustion. 2 days later, the entitlement escalated. My phone had over 20 missed calls from Jesse, 15 from Catherine, and dozens of texts. Messages ranged from what the hell to please, baby, let me explain, you're psychotic. I didn't reply to a single one. Jesse's first voicemail was full of tears, guilt, and the most creative version of a misunderstanding I had ever heard. Catherine's second voicemail was angry, frustrated, almost comic. You had no right. You're crazy. I'm calling the cops. Good luck with that. By 8 a.m., pounding on my door resumed. They were relentless. Jesse shouting, Catherine demanding, Amanda trying to mediate. I recorded the entire thing on my phone in case legal action became necessary. Finally, security stepped in. They left, furious but powerless. I went back to bed, exhausted. Later that day, Jesse's mother, Patricia, called. Riley, sweetheart, she said in that fake sweet tone. Jessica explained everything. She was at Catherine's for closure. You traumatized her. I blinked. She lied to me about her location, spent 5 hours at her ex's apartment, and I have screenshots proving it. I didn't throw her out. I delivered her belongings where she chose to be. She's staying with me now, and she's a mess. You want her to come get her things properly? She already has them. Patricia went quiet for a moment, then fake sweetness again. You're going to regret this. She could sue you for illegal eviction. No, Patricia. She was a guest, not a tenant. No lease, no rent, no mail. I consulted a lawyer. Case closed. Have a nice day. Social media attacks followed, but not the usual he's abusive posts. No, Jesse went for a different strategy. Long story posts about how I was too insecure to handle him having male friends, how I stalked his location, how I threw a tantrum. Friends questioned him, but others bought it. Catherine's boyfriend, John, found the post. Turns out John wasn't happy. He had been working a night shift at the hospital and found out his girlfriend had her ex over for 5 hours. He commented, Are you kidding me? You were at my girlfriend's apartment until 1 a.m.? The post got deleted, but screenshots circulated quickly. 1 week later, Jesse escalated. First, he tried to claim I stole some of his belongings, filed a police report about a non-existent family heirloom, claimed I took cash. It was laughable. I had video footage from inside my condo showing me packing. His laptop went into a box. No mysterious cash. The officer even asked if he paid rent. No. Lease? Not his name. Damaged property? I carefully wrapped everything. The officer looked exhausted. This is a civil matter at best. Financial entitlement followed. Jesse had my Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime accounts. His Uber linked to my credit card. I canceled all accounts, removed him from all services. He sent Venmo requests for Uber account you stole and emotional damages. I countered with $1,400 for 8 months of streaming, groceries, and utilities. Blocked. Then came the catfishing attempt. Jesse convinced his friend Megan to text me pretending to be interested. "Hey, Riley, heard you're single. Jesse never deserved you. Want to grab drinks?" She forgot to use a different number. I had her saved from before. Later, she posted an Instagram story with Jesse. Caption, "Plotting with my bestie." I screenshot everything and sent it to my group chat. The boys roasted them mercilessly. Peak entitlement arrived one evening, when Jesse somehow convinced the building's maintenance guy that he was locked out. He was literally in my living room when I returned. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "I came for the rest of my things," he said casually. "No, you already got everything." He opened drawers, looking for things not his. I immediately started recording. "Jesse, you're trespassing. Leave now. This is my home." He grabbed a throw pillow. "This is mine. I bought it 2 years ago. Emotional distress compensation." The maintenance guy looked mortified. Jesse had no proof. 10 seconds later, he left, trying to grab my Nintendo Switch. I blocked him. I filed a formal complaint. Rob, the maintenance guy, got written up. Jesse was officially banned from accessing my condo. Then Catherine called. "We need to talk." "No, nothing happened between me and Jesse. Even if it did, you had no right to dump his stuff at my place," he pressed. "So you're admitting something?" "I'm admitting nothing. I'm saying you acted crazy. Jesse was at Catherine's from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Lied about where he was. How would you feel?" "How's John?" "Working through it. Issues like having his ex over while she was at work. Not your business. Lose my number." 2 weeks after everything went down, the situation finally reached its legal climax. After the breaking and entering incident, I filed for a restraining order against Jesse. The judge granted a temporary order based on the security footage showing him in my apartment without permission and evidence of his false police reports. Jesse had to appear in court to contest it. He showed up with Patricia and Amanda, all dressed like they were going to church, trying to look innocent. His lawyer argued that he had been a resident and had a right to retrieve his belongings. My lawyer shut that down immediately with documentation proving he never received mail here, never paid rent, wasn't on any utilities, and had his legal address listed as his mother's house on his driver's license. The judge asked Jesse directly, "Did you enter the plaintiff's residence without permission after being told you weren't welcome?" "I lived here. He threw me out illegally," he tried to argue. "That's not what I asked," the judge said firmly. "Did you enter without permission?" The maintenance man had let him in, thinking Jesse had permission, but he admitted in court that Jesse had lied. "This is concerning, Mr. Winters," the judge said. The restraining order was granted for 1 year. Jesse had to stay 100 yards away from me, my home, and my workplace. The real karma, however, came from an unexpected source. John, Catherine's boyfriend. She reached out to me privately on Instagram. Not to blame me, not to defend anyone, just to thank me. Turns out Catherine had a history of bringing exes over while John was at work. John had been suspicious for months, but had been gaslit into thinking he was paranoid. My pile of Jesse's belongings at Catherine's door at 1 a.m. was the proof he needed. He dumped her and moved out. And here's the twist. The apartment was actually him. John had been the one paying rent and managing the lease while Catherine looked for better work. For the past year, Catherine had essentially been freeloading. So now Catherine was effectively homeless, couch surfing among friends, and Jesse, without Catherine's apartment to run to, and with the restraining order in place, was stuck at Patricia's house. Even that came with consequences. Patricia called me one last time, trying to guilt-trip me into dropping the restraining order. "She's learned her lesson, Riley. This is ruining her life. She can't even drive certain routes to work because they go too close to your building." "That's her problem, Patricia. You're being vindictive." "No. I'm protecting myself from someone who lied, filed false reports, and broke into my home," I said firmly. I found out through mutual friends that Jesse's job became aware of the restraining order. He had to disclose it since we worked in the same business district, and there was a risk of running into each other. He didn't get fired, but was transferred to a satellite office in the suburbs. His commute went from 15 minutes to an hour and a half each way. The friend group mostly sided with me after the truth came out. Even some of Jesse's closest friends reached out to apologize for believing his initial story. Megan, the one who had tried to catfish me, also apologized after seeing the evidence, realizing she had been manipulated to act against me. As for me, I was doing all right. Not great, not terrible, just all right. 2 years of trust had been wasted on someone who could lie that easily, but at least I had clarity before moving forward. The condo felt bigger now, quieter. I reorganized everything, got some new furniture, and finally hung some artwork I'd been meaning to display for years. My friends, especially Mike, were supportive. He refused payment for helping me move Jesse's belongings, claiming the entertainment value was worth more than the moving fee. His cousin Tony still told the story to anyone who would listen, embellishing the drama each time. I wasn't dating, not really interested. Trust issues were real after something like this, but my therapist assured me it was normal and healthy to take time to process and heal. The cherry on top? Last week, I got a notification that someone tried signing into my Netflix account. The location? Patricia's house. They were still trying to use my streaming services. I changed all passwords, enabled two-factor authentication on everything, and turned off location sharing entirely. Lesson learned. Always trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. When someone shows you who they really are through lies, manipulation, and entitlement, believe them the first time. And remember, turn off location sharing with your ex. Jesse's was still on for 3 days after everything. Watching him commute an hour and a half to his new office every morning, knowing he had nowhere to escape to, was oddly satisfying. I sent him one final text before blocking him everywhere. Your location sharing is still on. Might want to fix that. He turned it off within 30 seconds. Done. Finished. Moving on with my life felt good, efficient, clean, no dramatic confrontations necessary. Jesse wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Keep me as the stable girlfriend while sneaking around with Catherine. Instead, he lost everything. Convenient living, easy commute, friends' respect, and a relationship with someone who genuinely cared. All for 5 hours of conversation with an ex, which ultimately cost him everything. Hope it was worth it, Jesse. Actually, no. I hope it wasn't. I closed my phone, took a deep breath, and finally felt free.